This rather complex looking piece with the double bends on it, like that, goes up here. So that's the cap, and it runs down here and laps over, and that will finish off this side, and then we just do that part there and the front. That's what that looks like. It rolls around the front and the back. I am just doing the test fit now. I'll take this off, lap this joint with the 3M 5200. Got a little bit of a curve right there. Just got to tap down. I must have bumped that on something. And then those pieces I cut from the other side will get welded on over here. And this line here lines up with this down here, just so that it has good feng shui. All right, that is in place. This butts up really nicely right where the old piece did. And then this will get filled. This all gets riveted down. And then obviously I've got a pretty good amount of the 3M in there, so I will clean that up and rivet this railing down. I've got this nice cap down here that will get riveted in place, and the other piece overlaps it. So again, the lap joints all prevent water from getting in. And up here, I need to lap underneath this. So this is where I've got to clean up that edge. So I've marked it, scribed it with a nice straight line, and I will use my small zip disc, which I can control really nicely, just to cut that, and then I'll go over it with the sander. I don't necessarily need the long reach zip cutter for this, but I do find that because it's got that long handle on it, it's really easy to just follow the line. Oh, sorry. And then by, a little angle up or down, I can just stay right on that line. Now I will come across again with the sander, but this thing just makes it a little easier than trying using a regular cutoff wheel or a big angle grinder. Cleaned up this edge, and now I want a piece, got to cut a piece that will slide under there far enough that I can rivet it. So let's say an inch, and then lap over this. I want it, oh, that's hard to do with one hand, hold the tape. Anyway, I want it here to come down just above this eyebrow, rip edge. So from there, giving me an inch under down to here, I'm going to be about 16¼ inches. And then I'm going to roll the back edge over here, just like I did that piece. So I want it to come up here, let's say 36 inches. So 16¼ by 36. When I'm drilling through layers like this, where they are not necessarily tight, I always drill a little bit small. So this hole is a little undersized, then I can come back, and I won't drill all of these. I only drill occasional holes. In this case, I'm going every 3 and just over to here, and I'll work my way from one end to the other. So this hole is a little undersized. I will drill it out to size. I will throw a rivet in there before I drill this one out to size, and that way it sucks it up nice and tight, and then I'll go back and put in the rivets in between. So I just put this rivet in, and that pulls it up nicely. Now I will drill this hole out to actual size, and then put that rivet in. All right, now I just want to push on this and push those layers together. And that pulls it up snug. Here is the passenger side. Sorry about the wind. I'll have to weld this up. That's where I had to cut through that to free the corner. So this was lapped underneath this. And even though it's green, I don't want to lap the bottom sheet over the top. So I've freed this by taking out one more rivet, tucked up this sheet far enough in here that it is above the rivet holes. There is sealant in there, a good healthy bead of it down here, and then this gets pushed into place and riveted. That's the last step for the side. All right, the top and bottom are riveted into place, and now it's time just to make a nice looking row of rivets down here, and then, where's my finger? Weld on the ends of the rub rails just to make that look sharp. And for spacing those out again, I go back to my rivet layout tool. So I just spread one end so that it covers a rivet there and one down here, and then that gives me a nice straight line that I can mark and spread out. In a previous video I showed this, and I said this was the bee's knees, and my 14-year-old daughter said, "What the hell are the bee's knees?" So I guess that's not hip. Apparently I'm not hip, and if you say hip, you're not hip. The side is done, and actually that bit there is probably the most complex portion of the whole bus. So this is done, except for putting these on. Now these are a little bit wider. I did crown the ends off a bit. The profile here and here doesn't match. Line that up, Ross. There we go. The profile here and here doesn't match exactly, but once I weld these on and then do a little bit of grinding and polishing, I will blend those in together, and that will get riveted in place and look really nice. Yeah, this is not your pretty stack of dimes weld, but this is thin, so I'm doing spot welds and building up where I'll need to do a little bit of shaping. On the edges, like here, I don't want to just weld up to the edge. I put a piece of copper bar there, and then I can weld on that edge and up top, and you'll see I get a nice clean, like flat edge there, square edge, and then when I shave this down, that's going to look really nice. I promise. Really. Here we go. Welded on. I will hit those with the grinder and do some shaping, and then I can rivet those on. Look where I welded that on. You can't even tell. No, that's not the one I did. I did this one, but it is pretty close. I do want to add a little bit of additional weld in here. I went over it with the grinder and then the little sanding disc, little 2-inch sander, and I'm pretty close, but I do want to fill a little bit of metal in there and in here and in here, just so I don't have to fill any, do any body putty filling, and right on there. I'll do that, and then I should be able to do a final sanding and be done with those. It's the last rivet on the sides. The side is done. Yay! So this was really the most complex piece of the whole side, and then I've got these ends welded on. They look pretty good, just need a little bit of primer. I've got this piece up here secured into place, and then down here that's riveted on the leading edge. There's 3M 5200 behind that, as there is with everything else. So anyway, the next part is just doing the wrap around the front. I'll show that in the next video. I'm just admiring again. I just think this looks really nice. So these are kind of staggered. This lines up. I mentioned the feng shui in the previous one. And I've got a nice straight edge down there with all the seams hidden by the rub rails. Beauty.